This is CBS.
Just ahead on KOAM News Weekend, Joplin police are investigating their 4th homicide so far this year. The latest victim was found brutally murdered this afternoon. The family of this Joplin murder victim wants your help. They're setting up a reward for anyone who can help solve the mysterious murder of Christy Kelly. Jolene Wall has our weather, and J. Rad Savage has the latest in sports. I'm Scott Lane. A late edition of KOAM News Weekend is next.
This is KOAM News Weekend with Scott Lane, meteorologist Jolene Wall with weather, and J. Rad Savage with sports. Now for the 4 states' most watched news team.
It's one of the most brutal murders I've seen.
Joplin police say an all-night search has a tragic end, and now another homicide investigation is underway. Good evening, 4 states. This is KOAM News Weekend. I'm Scott Lane. Joplin police got the tip in the middle of the night, a report that a murder may have taken place. And after an intensive search involving the entire Joplin Police Department, police found the suspect in his blood-covered car. And around 1:30 this afternoon, the victim was found. Police say they believe 34-year-old Gail Smith was abducted and sexually assaulted before she was brutally murdered. The woman's body was discovered by workers at a Joplin cement company. Police immediately responded to process the crime scene. Now officials won't say if the woman was killed here or if this is just the place where her body was left behind. But they are saying how she was killed.
We don't want to speculate on the motive yet. Can tell you that it was a very brutal murder and that the woman's throat was slashed and her skull crushed.
Once police began their investigation, they immediately made a connection. The victim's description matches that of the woman they were told about in the overnight homicide report.
A gentleman came into the Joplin police station and told us that he believed that a friend of his had just murdered someone. We checked the residence. It was a Joplin woman. Her residence had found that she was in fact missing from her home. Her husband was still at home. Her purse was still at her residence and her shoes.
Investigators won't say if they've recovered a possible murder weapon, but they say the suspect and the victim knew each other and they were together at a meeting in Carl Junction on the night she was murdered. And they are positive the bloodshed took place within the city limits of Joplin. Now, police are not releasing the name of the suspect tonight, but they say he is a 29-year-old man who just moved to the Joplin area from Illinois. He is being held in the Jasper County Jail and is expected to be charged with first-degree murder. This is the 4th Joplin homicide so far this year. The family of a murder victim in Joplin earlier this year is offering a reward for information leading to the conviction of the person who is responsible for her death. Christy Mays Kelly was found dead in her apartment just last April, and now her parents say someone has the clue that will finally solve this murder mystery. Laura Sabatino spoke with the family today, and she has this report.
Christy Mays Kelly.
Whoever did it will burn in hell for an eternity for what they did.
In Joplin, Laura Sabatino, KOAM News.
The Mayses say they won't just sit back and let Christy's death pass them by. They will take an active stand to change the judicial system, but they don't know just yet what direction they will take. People who are frustrated with government bureaucracy and waste are taking action to let others know how they feel. The federal deficit, high taxes, and political financial abuse are topping the list of gripes today at a rally that was held in Pittsburgh. The event is one of many held today nationwide. It's sponsored by Citizens Against Waste, and it features a variety of statewide speakers commenting on issues ranging from taxation to spending control.
It doesn't matter what party you belong to. If the government's spending money, it's going to come out of our pockets. And if they're going to spend it, we want it to be spent responsibly. And that's what we're here today for, is to show that responsibility. And when the
rally is one of about 200 that are going on around the nation today. The Newton County Sheriff has arrested once again the man who is accused of severely damaging a historic cemetery. Jerry Durham, a Neosho businessman, is now charged with tampering with a crime scene and removing evidence from a crime scene. Now, Durham earlier this week was charged with felony property destruction. The sheriff says Durham returned to the Elm Springs Cemetery this evening, and he tried to remove the huge cedar trees he had cut down. As we reported earlier this week, Durham was apparently hired by a cemetery trustee to remove only dead and decaying trees, but he allegedly cut down live trees, and in that process, he allegedly crumbled grave markers that date back to the Civil War era. The federal government is opening a new workshop to help Southeast Kansas flood victims through their financial woes. Today, the Small Business Administration set up an office in Pittsburgh. The staff members at the facility will assist residents and business people with the applications for low-interest loans and grants. The office will open again on Monday and remain open through the week. The hours are from 9 until 6. It is located at 3200 North Rouse Street. Now, you must have registered with the Federal Emergency Management Agency before you fill out an application for SBA assistance. If you haven't registered yet with FEMA, you can do so by calling 1-800-462-9029. In Ottawa County, Oklahoma, the checks are in for some flood victims, and now people like Cotton Montgomery have the money to start rebuilding. Already his house is being repainted, and the next step is to refurnish the inside. Montgomery says without the help of the Small Business Administration offering the low-interest loans, he wouldn't know what to do. His family of 6, he says, would still probably be sleeping on the couch.
We're talking about all of our bedding, our appliances, our TVs, some clothing, a lot of the cooking utensils that were in the lower shelving, just basically everything we had.
Now, the checks for Ottawa County residents will be mailed to the recipients' homes. The SBA office located at the Miami Civic Center will stay open at least through this week, officials say. The hours there are from 9 until 6. Well, it's been a wet evening here in the 4 states, and there have been some storm watches. Meteorologist Jolene Wall joins us now to update us in a first look at the weather. Jolene?
Scott, good news on the horizon. We've had to talk about the forecast in a bit.
All right, Jolene, thanks. Well, national headlines are next on KOAM News Weekend. And today, after 11 days of captivity in Somalia, Army pilot Michael Durant is back on American soil. We'll have details when we return. Topping national headlines tonight, after 11 days of captivity in Somalia, American Army pilot Michael Durant is back in the United States. Upon his arrival at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland this evening, he was awarded the Purple Heart by the Army Chief of Staff, General Gordon Sullivan. The United States is dispatching Marine troops, helicopters, and warships to Haiti in an effort to enforce pending U.S. sanctions against that country. Security has also been beefed up around the U.S. Embassy in Haiti. The move comes as Haiti's generals continue to ignore a United Nations agreement to relinquish their power to civilian authorities. And in Indianapolis today, a Ku Klux Klan rally erupted into violence when anti-KKK activists clashed with white supremacists on the steps of the Indiana State House. After an hour-long speech from the Klan, a crowd trampled down fences and police escorted Klan members out of the area. Police at one time threatened to use tear gas in order to stop the disturbance. Well, there's more to come on KOAM News Weekend. Meteorologist Jolene Wall has been keeping an eye on the storm watches in the area. And just ahead in weather, she'll tell us that the rain is over with for tonight.